Hello, everyone. My name is Len Tetta. I am the Collage Fellow for Collage New Music's 2023-2024 season. I have the great pleasure to be here talking with composer Dr. Texu Kim, whose piece Ominous Omnibus is going to be performed by Collage New Music on February 18th. Texu, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to talk to you about the piece.
Thank you for
So to
having me.
start, of course, my pleasure. To start out, I figure we can talk about the piece's inspiration.
Sure. It has the title Omnibus, Ominous Omnibus, and the first word ominous had been living with me for a long time. So it was when I was doing my doctorate, I wanted to write something about ominous. Then just it sounded exotic to me as a foreigner back then. So I want to write something about it. But it took me a while how to justify the word ominous. What am I doing with ominous, and what is the best topic? And then after a while, when I was commissioned about this piece, it was a co-commission by San Diego New Music and Korean Cultural Society of Boston, underwriting on behalf of Collage New Music. And the premiere was going to go to the Collage New Music. No, not the Collage New Music, but the San Diego New Music. And it was going to happen around Halloween because it was part of the California Festival in November 2023. And then I thought, okay, this is finally the time for me to use something about ominous. And then, but I wanted to do something not just ominous, but something more delightful, because that's something I love to do with my music very often. And so, and then I began thinking about something like the friendly ghost Casper. I'm not sure if you know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So something like that image. And then I realized there is a Korean counterpart called dokebi. So dokebi is goblin, is the best translation, even though that has different images. Goblins are way more serious to me, but dokebis are way more rambunctious, and then they do a lot of pranks to living people. And they are sometimes demigod. They have lots of uh, special powers. So I thought that would be great. And then I am fascinated about like different Korean folk tales and cultures. And so it fit perfectly to the idea of everything I wanted. So that was the inspiration. And also another thing is dokebi is, if you research dokebi tales, they there are a lot of them, and a lot of them would say dokebi are basically coming from daily objects, especially like brooms or old bowls, like a larger bowl, small bowls, and fireplace. All these small things become dokebi, and that is also related to my fascination with daily life. So there are multiple ways of incorporating daily lives, and in this particular piece, I incorporated the Korean brooms as mallets.
Ah, very cool. So that all kind of ties in with my next question. There is a sentence in the program here that I just really like, and I would love you to speak a little more to, if you would. It says, "Then I selected sound materials that fit the narrative and built a musical, non-musical drama interweaving the materials." And I'm very curious what exactly that means to you, and how a drama can be both musical and non-musical, and like how, literally you want the audience to really like absorb or conceptualize these materials that you're talking about in the program, or like to what degree you want that to be sort of in their conscious mind as they hear the piece.
Sure, of course, there's no set way, like this is the perfect musical drama everyone should follow, right? But generally, there are some forms like ABA, which is kind of what I'm using. And in that case, there is some elements of contrast or build up. Those things would be important in this case. And what I feel more organic about this, a lot of music is beginning from a little more slow and then build up into climax, very traditional way. And then the climax, on the way, the climax, there are lots of different devices. For example, loudness become, or more loud, the music could be more loud, more fast, and all these things. And then end with basically the beginning. So nothing super new, but it also relates to a lot of these folk tales of dokebis because they come from like nothing basically, and then they became alive. They become alive, and then they do a lot of different things in town at night. Like sometimes they wrestle with people. Sometimes they actually give some harm to damage to people's objects or like their houses. Sometimes they do the opposite. They actually do make a wish for other people. But and then at the end, many of those dokebis would go back to nothingness. So I thought that would both meet my expectation about the musical narrative and then the story.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So then, of course, I mean, you've mentioned this, that the piece incorporates a lot of these extended techniques, some of them kind of specifically intended, I think, to evoke the actual sounds of like what's happening in the story. And then, you know, looking through the score, there's also plenty of parts where things are played more conventionally with like determinate pitch content and all of that. And I'm very curious how you see those two types of musical material kind of relating to each other.
So that's a great question to begin with. And I think to me, it is important not to necessarily abandon all the tie to the traditions. And then the tie to the tradition means use of pitch, use of rhythm, and because sometimes they are a very effective tool to create narratives, musical narratives. And so if there is some sort of central pitch that I use more often, and then there is some tonal, every note I create would have some sort of hertz, which would be translated to pitch. Then if that is the case, I would rather have a more control. But also at the same time, I really, really appreciate all the experiments and then the wide sound palettes we can use thanks to all our predecessors. And so I go back and forth depending on the group who are going to play my music. And in this case, I was thinking about two different groups, two vastly different groups. San Diego New Music is very more experimental, music friendly group. And then Collage New Music is, well, they do, both of them do everything, but at the same time, Collage Music, it shows a lot of strength in tying music with music from the previous era. And then, so it was not, this piece particularly is more gearing toward the experimental type of sound, sonority wise, because I go back and forth, as I said already, and then I thought this is probably a good time for me to catch up with what happened in last 2 years. I sincerely follow lots of different things, but this is a good opportunity to re-educate me, to catch up with what is going on right now, and so that's what I wanted to do. Also, I thought it would give the collage music the chance to show what they actually, people have different expectations, and then this would be great time for them to redo so many different things we are capable. So I thought it was my expression of an appreciation of their musicality.
All right. Well, Texu, thank you so much for telling us about your piece. I am so excited to hear it. And as a reminder, please, all of you out there should come hear it too on February 18th, performed by Collage New Music. All of the information will be magically appearing in front of my face on the screen. And I hope You all have a great day, and Texu, I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.